All right, we've got 15 games on Monday, November 4th. Yes, every single NBA team plays here today. It's like Frozen Frenzy, but in terms of the NBA, I don't know what we can call it for the NBA. But yeah, every team is playing today. So I'm going to try to get through this one a little bit quickly. Why? Because, folks, we are going to have our first ever college basketball predictions coming to the channel later today. Now, the college basketball format that's going to come out in about an hour or two is going to be a lot different from the NBA. We're not going to do every single game because there are literally, I think, 80 college basketball games tomorrow, and I do not have the time and day to sit here and talk about every single college basketball game. I'm going to give you my 10 best bets for the college basketball slate today, and I'm going to give you right now a little sneak peek into our first pick, and I'm just doing this because this first game starts at 1 p.m. on the West Coast. We are taking the Santa Clara the Santa Clara Broncos. Oh my goodness, we're already messing things up. We're taking the Santa Clara Broncos. I'm gonna leave that in. We're taking the Santa Clara Broncos to win the opener. We have them to beat St. Louis minus 130. Stay tuned though for more college basketball picks. You can get more picks like the Santa Clara Broncos to go out there and win games. But yes, that's our first pick for our first 10 best bets in the college basketball season. Hopefully we start off 1-0 again. I would say go after Santa Clara in that 1 p.m. slot against St. Louis. Regardless of that, we'll have the college basketball picks out later, so that's why this video might be a little bit shorter, but every single time I say a video is going to be shorter, it turns out to be the normal length. So we'll see what it is. But yeah, since every team is playing today, I'm going to try to shorten this video just a little bit because we will have our college basketball picks out later today as well. And folks, if you haven't yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more NBA predictions here on the channel. We predicted the UFC Fight Night Neil Magny versus Carlos Prates card yesterday, so go check that video out. We'll have our college football predictions out tomorrow. We'll have our NFL predictions out on Wednesday. As we get into our first game, we start things off here with the Milwaukee Bucks and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, I just saw this game. And the Cavaliers won, obviously, game winner from Donovan Mitchell. Now, this is a much different game now, obviously. Why? Because it's in Cleveland, and the Cavs are only going to get better. They are getting 7.5 points at home against the Milwaukee Bucks, and I understand why, guys. The Bucks are 1-5. Chris Middleton still out. No Middleton, no wins for Milwaukee. The Cavs right now are playing like one of the best teams in the NBA. If it wasn't for the Oklahoma City Thunder, which again, we get to talk about every single team today, we're going to talk about OKC. They are the best team in the NBA. And okay, Cleveland is right up there as well, though. They're both 7-0. Donovan Mitchell's playing like an MVP right now, and he deserves all the credit in the world. He's balling out. Garland's playing well. Evan Mobley's averaging 18-9. Jared Allen's out here averaging 15-11. I mean, again, this Cavs team is firing on all cylinders right now, and we're going to continue to pick them. Guys, Milwaukee is literally just Giannis and Dame. The rest of the team, horrible. They have nothing else. Brook Lopez just sits on the outside and takes his, he takes his jumper from the shoulder. He takes his three-pointer from the shoulder. That's the only shot he takes. Gary Trent's abysmal. Taurean Prince. Yeah, the Cavs dominate this basketball game. Yeah, it's 7.5 a lot, sure. But guys, we are going National Blowout Association in our first game here. I think the Bucks absolutely get killed on the road in Cleveland. That's how much better basketball the Cavaliers are playing right now. I get it. 7.5 against a team that's got Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard is a lot of points. I completely get it. But give me the Cleveland Cavaliers to win this game. They will cover the 7.5 points and they will win the game outright as well. As we go on to our next one, we go to our nation's capital. We've got the Washington Wizards taking on the Golden State Warriors. The Wizards are going to continue to fall back down to earth. They had back-to-back wins over the Atlanta Hawks, and maybe you're thinking, oh, the Hawks are just not that good. Well, no, the Hawks beat the Pelicans. Now, we finally got a Pelicans game right. We finally did it. Finally did it yesterday. We had missed every single Pelicans game so far this season, but we finally got one right. We took the Atlanta Hawks to go into New Orleans and win, and that's exactly what happened. The Wizards won back-to-back games in the home and home against the Hawks, but they fell back to earth in their game in Mexico against the Miami Heat, losing the game by 20 points. And Bilal Coulibaly has been a bright spot, and a major bright spot for this Washington squad. But Golden State has just been playing so well right now. The Warriors are one of the best teams currently in the NBA. Steph Curry's questionable for this game. I wouldn't anticipate Curry to play this game because it's the Wizards, and the Warriors can win without him. This team's playing great basketball. Podziemski, Moody, Wiggins, Draymond, Trace Jackson-Davis, Buddy Hield, of course, has been balling. He's, one of the best shooters right now, it seems like, in the NBA. Again, Hield will go through his stretches, don't get me wrong. Buddy Hield's not going to continue this the entire season. He's just not going to do that, but I like everything the Warriors have been doing right now. Like, truly, right now the Warriors have been firing on all cylinders. They have looked like one of the best teams in basketball. They shoot the ball at such an efficient rate, and they're playing the Wizards. Again, Jordan Poole, revenge game. Kyle Kuzma's still injured. That's fine. The Wizards just won't be able to keep up in this game. The Warriors should be able to go on the road and dominate this one. Give me Golden State to win and cover the 10.5 points as well. Again, the Warriors were dominating in that game against the Rockets before they choked that lead. But what happened? They dealt with the adversity and they won the game in overtime. We picked them to cover, and that's exactly what they did. Give me the Warriors to win this game and to cover the 10.5 points as well. We go on to Detroit. We've got the Detroit Pistons taking on the Los Angeles Lakers. Guys, the Lakers are one of the best teams in the NBA. They just are. I'm absolutely sold on the Lakers. I've told you this season how sold I am on Los Angeles, and I'm going to continue to be sold on the Lakers. The Pistons are coming off a victory over the Brooklyn Nets. I don't understand how that happens. Brooklyn, again, has killed us all season long. They go and beat the Bulls. They have nights where they literally they can't stop hitting shots, and they put up 92 points yesterday against the Detroit Pistons. Maybe it was because the game was at 1 o'clock, but it doesn't make sense to me. Now, here's the thing. If we're picking the Lakers here, which we are, the Pistons are not winning back-to-back games, guys. At the end of the day, they're still the Detroit Pistons. And the Los Angeles Lakers, again, are just the much better team. Guys, I've said it all season long, and I'm going to continue to say it. Anthony Davis is the best player in basketball. It's that simple. This J.J. Redick offense and this J.J. Redick coach team is meant for Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is taking over, and Anthony Davis, again, is now officially solidifying himself as, I think, again, he's going to win the MVP this season. He's that good. AD is that dominant this year. Look at the numbers AD is posting. 32-12. My goodness. 2 blocks a game. Again, LeBron is going to have his nights. LeBron's averaging 22 a night. He's averaging 22, 7, and 7. Those are some good numbers. But guys, Anthony Davis is the man now in Los Angeles, and he is the guy they're building this team around. AD's been great. Austin Reeves has been really good as well. D'Lo, But AD, Braun, and Reeves have been really good for this basketball team, and they're going to go into Detroit and absolutely destroy this Pistons squad. Again, Detroit will not win back-to-back games. You get the great matchup, and honestly, I'm not making a joke out of this. Jalen Duren versus Anthony Davis will be a fun matchup tomorrow, or today. But AD's going to dominate it. He's going to control the glass, and Anthony Davis is going to have his way against Jalen Duren. Give me the Lakers to win this game, and they will cover the 6.5 points, the 5.5 points as well. We go on to our next one here. We go to Atlanta. We've got the Atlanta Hawks taking on the Boston Celtics. And shout out to the Hawks, finally getting back on the winning ways, obviously going to New Orleans and winning. Again, I will continue to say it. The Pelicans are absolutely abysmal. They're not a good basketball team, guys. The Pelicans are not good. For Boston, they're 6-1. Their only loss being on the road to the Indiana Pacers in a dogfight where they came back in the very end. But again, Indiana pulled away at the very end of that game. Jason Tatum's been playing lights out all season long. Again, it's every game but 2. I think Jason Tatum's led the Celtics team in points. It feels like every single night Tatum gives Boston 30. They're coming off their back-to-back victories over the Charlotte Hornets. I mean, those were just games that, again, Boston had to go out and win. But the Celtics are the best-built team in basketball right now. They just are. This team is dominant. They have all the pieces on their squad. No Jaylen Brown in this game against the Atlanta Hawks. And that's why we are taking the Hawks to cover the 10.5 points. No Jaylen Brown. It's going to make it harder on Boston to pull away from them. All right. Who enters the starting lineup? I don't know. Is it Jordan Walsh? Is it Sam Hauser? I'm assuming it's going to be Sam Hauser, but who knows? Again, I think Atlanta's got opportunities to score in this game. The Hawks, again, are one of the most explosive offenses and one of the most high-scoring offenses in all of basketball, given they give up a crap ton of points as well, which is fine, because they're just going to get into a shootout here with the Celtics. And the Hawks, again, if they get into a shootout, don't think they lose the game by more than 10.5 points. I just don't think they do. Okay, I think Atlanta at home keeps this game relatively close. Again, Trae Young, we say it every day, but Trae Young is the most underrated star in the NBA. I will make the case he's the most underrated superstar in the NBA as well. Trae Young deserves the credit. And again, I've been just raving all season long about how Trae Young needs a true number 2. Maybe it's Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson had a huge game yesterday against the Pelicans. Maybe Johnson truly is that number 2 to Trae. But Trae's averaging 27 and 12. Jalen Johnson's averaging 18 and 10. I think that's enough to keep this team in the game with the Boston Celtics. DeAndre Hunter's having a big year as well. I think they've got enough to stay in this game with Boston, especially a Boston team that's going to be playing without Jaylen Brown. Give me the Hawks to cover, but obviously we're taking Boston to go on the road and win. But I just think 10.5 is too many points for Boston to cover without Jaylen Brown in the lineup. Next up, we go on to Brooklyn. We've got the Brooklyn Nets taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. And now, again, the Nets will fall down to earth eventually. It's going to happen. It's just a given. Brooklyn's not going to continue to shoot lights out every single night. Again, I know I'm talking like they're on some historic run. They're 3-4. But you know what? We've seen them beat the Grizzlies before this season, and we're going to pick them to beat the Grizzlies again. They went on the road to the FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee, and won the first game. They won it by 13 points. Dennis Schroeder put up 33 points. Great victory for them. I think they win this game against the Grizzlies. It's in Brooklyn this time. It's the last game for the Nets until Friday. They've got a long time to come back after this one, and I get it. Ben Simmons is hurt. Bogdanovich is out. It's fine. They'll be okay in this game because, again, Cam Thomas has his nights, and it feels like Cam Thomas's night is every single night. He averages 27 points. Dennis Schroeder's averaging 20. Cameron Johnson's averaging 16. I mean, they've got guys who score. They've got a lot of bench guys who randomly just put up shots and can just knock down threes. It's weird what the Nets are putting together, but I don't know what voodoo magic's going on in Brooklyn, but it's working, okay? The Memphis Grizzlies are a team that's very confusing. They're 4-3, but they're coming off back-to-back victories over the Bucks and the 76ers. Those are the two most underwhelming teams so far in 2024, and I get it. Philadelphia will be better when Paul George and Joel Embiid are out, but guys, the Nets have their injuries. That's fine. Guys, the Grizzlies are playing this game without Marcus Smart, without Desmond Bane, and without Luke Kennard. Yeah, we're taking the Nets to win this game. It's in Brooklyn. I get it's the second half of a back-to-back for the Nets, but I'm completely fine in taking them. Again, this devilry magic, and again, this is all satire, but still, this devilry magic with Dennis Schroeder and Cam Thomas continues to work. These guys continue to shoot lights out, and again, the Brooklyn Nets, trust me, I watched the Bulls game. The Nets have games where they just can't miss shots, and I get it, okay. The Pistons game, they looked horrible. That's fine. Brooklyn's not going to have two back-to-back horrible nights shooting. Give me the Nets to win as home dogs. I really like this spot. Again, we're going to cash in. We're going to buy low on Brooklyn here after the loss to the Pistons. That's fine. Give me plus 180 and plus 5.5 point dogs. We're taking the Brooklyn Nets to win this one at home against the Memphis Grizzlies. We go on to our next one. We go to South Beach. We've got the Miami Heat taking on the Sacramento Kings. I don't understand this one. I really don't. Again, Sacramento's not as bad as the record indicates. Sacramento's a really good basketball team. They lost on the road to Toronto, and simply put, I don't know how they lost that game. I don't know how they did. They lost it 131 to 128 in overtime. DeMar DeRozan had 33 points. Sabonis had a triple-double in that game, and he put down 20 boards in that game as well. Sabonis played 43 minutes and went 17, 20, and 10. What a performance. Truly. I mean, Doug McDermott was forced in the starting lineup for Sacramento. Truly, I don't know how they lost this game. I mean, RJ Barrett puts up 31. Boucher puts up 24 off the bench. Grady Dick puts up 22. They lost to a Raptors team without Scotty Barnes. I don't understand how that happens. But you know what? Again, Sacramento's not going to have back-to-back horrible games. They're just not. Kevin Huerter is back in the lineup. So again, no Doug McDermott in the starting lineup again for Sacramento. And the Kings should win this basketball game. Okay, I'm not sold on Miami yet this season. Their wins are, again, Charlotte, Detroit, and Washington. They've played three of the worst teams on paper in the Eastern Conference. I get it. Those teams aren't playing like they did last season, but still, on paper, they're playing bad teams. Now, Bam Adebayo finally had a huge game in their last one on Saturday in Mexico against the Wizards. Good for Bam Adebayo, but this team still kind of concerns me. They feel like they're just an aging team that, kind of feels like they're going off a cliff here. I don't know. Again, Miami's going to be in the dance, of course, when it comes to the postseason. They're a team that shows up once the playoffs start. But in the regular season, I don't really love Miami that much. They truly don't have a guy right now who's just stepping up night in and night out. I mean, again, Tyler Hero's averaging 21, Rozier's averaging 17, Jimmy's averaging 17, Bam Adebayo's averaging 15. But, again, they don't have one guy who's just showing out every single night. I'm taking Sacramento. They have the better team with De'Aaron, DeRozan, Sabonis, Keegan Murray, they have the better team all around. I like Sacramento to win this game. The only reason Miami is favorites is because this game is in Florida. But I'm willing to take the dogs here. I don't really think the travel affects the Kings that much. Give me the Sacramento Kings to go on the road and beat the Miami Heat and obviously cover the spread as well. We go on to our next one here. We've got the Chicago Bulls hosting the Utah Jazz. Guys, the Utah Jazz might be the worst team in basketball. I'm sorry. They're just absolutely atrocious. They're 0-6. They're horrible. And they don't play competitive games, guys. I say this every time I talk about the Jazz. Since opening night, the Jazz have not had a competitive game this season. They have a close game. They almost beat the Memphis Grizzlies at home in their home opener and the season opener. They lose the game by 2 points. They lose to the Warriors. They get blown out in that game. They keep it close to the Mavericks, kind of, but they just kind of backdoor their way into a close game with the Mavericks. They get blown out by the Kings. They get blown out by the Spurs, and they just got blown out in Denver by 26 points. This Utah team is not good. Guys, they don't have someone they can rely on to score. Jordan Clarkson's still injured. The starting lineups: Keontae George, Colin Sexton, Cody Williams, Lauri Markkanen, and Walker Kessler. Guys, this is not a winning formula. I'm just sorry. It's not. And now they got to go on the road to Chicago. If you've been watching the daily predictions, which if you haven't, you should, you know we are big on the Bulls this season. I'm huge on Josh Giddey. I'm huge on Kobe White. I love Zach LaVine. Vucevic. I think the Bulls are a very solid team this season and a team that's going to continue to hang around. And again, they screwed us in the Nets game. That's fine. They haven't played since. They came back in that game. Vucevic put up numbers. And again, the Bulls have 3 really reliable scorers in LaVine, Vucevic, and Kobe White. And Josh Giddey, I will speak volumes on how well Josh Giddey has adapted to playing for the Chicago Bulls, how well he's been facilitating this offense as well. Again, don't forget, Giddey's only 23 years old, and he's already the player that he is. Again, Giddey gets a lot of unnecessary hate. It is what it is. I'm not going to hate the guy on that crap, but give me the Chicago Bulls to win this game at home. I like them. Again, they're getting, 5.5, 6.5, 7.5. That's fine. We'll play it. They're playing the worst team in basketball who has not been in a competitive game since the season opener. And sure, the Jazz are due to play a close one, but it's not happening tonight. Give me the Chicago Bulls to win, and they will dominate the Utah Jazz from pillar to post. Next up, we go on to Houston. We've got the Rockets as 3.5-point dogs against the New York Knicks, and we are going with the road team. Give me the Knicks. Oh my goodness, I'm talking a lot. Give me the Knicks to win this game, and they will cover the 3.5 points as well. They're coming off back-to-back victories over the Miami Heat and the Detroit Pistons. Karl-Anthony Towns put up 44 points in that Heat game. Jalen Brunson put up 36 points on that game on the road against the Detroit Pistons. And for the Rockets, guys, you know it's bad when NBA Twitter starts showing a picture of an NBA player and says, man, how can you hate on this man? And they post a picture of their family. That's Fred VanVleet right now. So you know what? It's starting to go bad for the Houston Rockets. Their entire team is Jalen Green, and that's about it. Fred VanVleet, again, once you get that treatment on NBA Twitter, you are not playing well. The man averages 38 minutes a night, and he averages 12 points and 5 assists. No hate on Fred VanVleet, but it's not going well for the Rockets right now. Sengun's a baller, I'm not going to lie. Jalen Green has been playing lights out this season, but once you get past those two guys, the Rockets are thin. I don't love their bench unit. I've never been a fan of Dylan Brooks, to be honest with you. Tyree Eason went off in their last game, but I don't trust Houston at all. They get the Knicks at home in this one, but the Knicks, simply put, are just the better basketball team. Mitchell Robinson's still out. Precious Achiuwa's still out. That's fine. Karl-Anthony Towns, again, has exploded for this New York team and is going to continue to get better playing for the Knicks as well. Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges. Bridges has been playing better since the opener and since the first week of the season. I like what the Knicks have, and I think they have way more opportunities to go out there and put up points than what the Houston Rockets have. Again, I feel like the Rockets are super one-dimensional, super two-dimensional, I guess, with just Jalen Green and Sengun. And even Sengun has not been having a crazy year in terms of scoring the rock this season. It's really just been all Jalen Green, and I think the Knicks adapt, and I think the Knicks go out there and win this game on the road in Houston against the Rockets. Next up, we go to another East versus West game. We have got the Charlotte Hornets going on the road to take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Guys, this game is not competitive. The Timberwolves blow out the Hornets. It just feels like a good spot for Minnesota in this one. Charlotte's still been dealing with their injuries. No Mark Williams, no Rick Richards. Brandon Miller might play this game. I don't know. He hasn't played. LaMelo Ball obviously is the only bright spot for this Charlotte squad, but Minnesota should just handle this team. It feels like a spot where the Timberwolves just absolutely annihilate the Hornets. The Hornets go on the road in this one. Minnesota just lost a game. There's no way, no how Minnesota drops back-to-back games to the San Antonio Spurs and to the Charlotte Hornets. Guys, it's just not happening. It's just not happening. Anthony Edwards, only put up 21 in their loss against San Antonio. I would expect him to get back on the right track. I'd expect Julius Randle to get back on the right track. I mean, Rudy Gobert got killed on the glass against his fellow Frenchman in Victor Wembanyama in that game just played a couple nights ago. It is what it is. The Timberwolves will be fine. Gobert had 3 boards in 23 minutes. I mean, what's going on? they'll be fine. The Timberwolves will be okay against Charlotte in this one. I almost thought to myself, I was like, was I tripping and Gobert just didn't play that game? No, he played. He had 3 rebounds. Give me Minnesota to dominate the Hornets, though. Again, the Hornets are still dealing with their own injuries, and yes, LaMelo Ball gives them a chance to be competitive in every single game they play. I understand that. That's the position that LaMelo Ball puts the Charlotte Hornets team in, and that's great. That gives the Hornets a lot of confidence. Regardless, Minnesota's the better team. Minnesota will win this basketball game. Give me the Timberwolves to win this game at home. Again, there's no way they have 2 back-to-back bad nights. That's just how the Timberwolves are. Excuse me. Oh, my goodness. Give me Minnesota to win this game, and they're going to cover the 9.5 points as well. Next up, we go to OKC. We've got the Thunder and the Orlando Magic. Guys, the Oklahoma City Thunder are the best team in the NBA. Simply put, they are the best team in basketball. They're 6-0, and man, just watch that team play. They were battling from behind that entire game against the Los Angeles Clippers. And oh, by the way, those are the 2 teams that made the Paul George trade. And the Thunder absolutely scammed the Clippers. I mean, look where it's at now, right? Regardless, the Thunder are the best team in the NBA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We need to start talking about this guy in a top 5 in the entire league. That's how good Shai is, guys. I'm just saying. Shai's going to put up his 27 points every single night. Chet Holmgren has been playing lights out this season as well. Jalen Williams is a great number 3 for the Oklahoma City Thunder as well. Again, I talk about it every day. But this team's so deep, guys. Their bench is loaded. They have so many guys who are going to go out there and so many guys who are going to score and give production off the bench. And again, I would take OKC regardless whoever they're playing. I'm going to be honest. I'm taking the Thunder against every single team in the league right now, and that includes the Boston Celtics, that includes the Cleveland Cavaliers, that includes the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm taking them against every single team in the NBA right now. I just am, and I love the Lakers. I cheer for the Lakers every single day. But they're playing an Orlando Magic team without Paolo Banchero. They're playing an Orlando Magic team that relies on Jalen Suggs to be the number 1 scorer. Guys, we just saw the Magic play a good team yesterday against the Dallas Mavericks, and what happened? They put up 85 points. Franz Wagner was their leading scorer with 13. Again, the team's mindset and the attitude shifts when Paolo Banchero is not on the court. I like the Magic. I was really high on the Magic. Hell, they were 3-1 to start the season with Paolo on the court. What has happened since the injury? They lose the game, Paolo gets injured. They lose the Cavs game without Paolo. They lose the Mavericks game without Paolo. Everything changes. They got to go to OKC tonight, and they got to go to Indiana in their next game. Ooh, it's not looking great. It's not looking great for the Magic. They have to find a way just to stay afloat until Banchero comes back, because right now, it's tough sledding. It's tough sledding for the Magic. And oh, by the way, again, they play the best team in basketball that, again, dealt with that adversity in the Clippers game. What happened? They ended up winning the game by 12 points. OKC dominates, man. They're the best team in the NBA right now. Give me the Thunder. We go on to our next one. The New Orleans Pelicans taking on the Portland Trailblazers. Guys, I will never take the New Orleans Pelicans again. Until further notice, we are not taking the New Orleans Pelicans. You know what I liked out of the Portland Trailblazers, their last game against the Phoenix Suns? The fight. They battled in that game, and they battled a lot. They were down by 20 points in that one. And what happened? They had an opportunity at the end of the game to hit a 3 to take the lead with 20 seconds. I think Camaro is the one who missed the 3. But the Trailblazers fight. They are better than I thought they were this season. And sure, they're 2-5. Yeah, whatever. But the way this team fights, man, they're never out of a game. Watch the Clippers game. I mean, they beat the Clippers, and the Clippers are still looking for their first win in the Intuit Dome. We will get back to that later when the Clippers take on the San Antonio Spurs in the nightcap. But I actually kind of like what the Trailblazers have got going on this season, man. Anthony Simons isn't playing well. Jeremy Grant's been playing well. DeAndre Ayton's cleaning up the glass. Scoot, again, is only going to continue to develop as a player. I understand Scoot's been a little bit underwhelming this season, but it's been a better start at least than last year for Henderson. Give me the Trailblazers to go on the road and beat the Pelicans. Guys, the Pelicans just look so dysfunctional right now. They just do. They don't look good. I mean, watch that game they just played against the Hawks. They lose the game by 15 points. They just got outmatched on offense. The Hawks were able to score. But you know who else is able to score and score a lot? The Portland Trailblazers. Trailblazers are able to put the ball in the basket. Give me the Trailblazers to go on the road and play the Pelicans. Guys, these 2 teams have already played twice this season as well, and Portland stayed competitive with the Pelicans twice. They lose the first game by 2 points, but then they win the second one by 22 points. I get it. The game was in Portland that time, and now it's in Louisiana. That's fine. We're taking the Trailblazers to go be road dogs in this one, and we're taking them to cash. Give me the Trailblazers to go on the road and beat the Pelicans. I am not sold on this New Orleans team. they look dysfunctional. They can't get things going, and they can't put it together. Give me the Portland Trailblazers to go on the road and beat the New Orleans Pelicans. We go on to our next one. We go to Dallas. We've got the Indiana Pacers going on the road to the Dallas Mavericks. And yeah, this is a little bit of an odd prediction I'm making here, but I'm taking the Mavericks to win, but I'm taking the Pacers to cover the 4.5 points. Guys, the Pacers play a lot of teams close. They've lost 2 games this season by 4 points to the Magic and to the 76ers. Again, Indiana plays everybody tight. And it's weird because the Pacers every single night it's somebody else. Miles Turner, Benedict Mathurin, Tyrese Halliburton, Siakam, Ben Shepherd. I mean, it's different guys every single night for this Indiana team. And yes, we are still waiting on Tyrese Halliburton to fully come through this season. I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't know when Tyrese is going to start playing like the all-star that he is. I hope it's soon because we kind of need that. I know Tyrese has been dealing with injuries in the offseason, obviously with Team USA and Paris and whatnot, but still, I would like to see Tyrese officially get going. I think they stay competitive with Dallas. Dallas is, they've had their games like that Rockets game, like the Suns game where they just look off. They're coming off a huge victory against the Magic where they absolutely dominated the game. Their guys didn't play the fourth quarter, but it is the second half of a back-to-back. Maybe the Pacers catch them lacking, and I'm taking Indiana to cover the 4.5, but ultimately we're going to take the Mavericks to win a very tight game. No real injuries on either side. Maxi Kleber out for Dallas, but it's fine. I'd expect the Mavericks to win this game, but again, I would never pick against the Pacers with the spread. Just never. That's just something going forward this season. Never pick against Indiana on the spread because the Pacers score so many points. They play high tempo. If you score on the Pacers, immediately they're inbounding that ball and they're trying to score in 7 seconds or less. That's just how the Pacers play. They're a tough team to get away from. They're a tough team to, again, just cover the spread against because they come back and they can come back so quickly. I would never pick against the Pacers on the spread. That's where we're taking plus 4.5 for Indiana, but we're taking a very close margin win for the Mavericks. Hell, maybe this one goes into overtime. It could be the Mavericks to win, but give me the Pacers to cover the 4.5 points. We go on to our next one. We go to Denver. This is probably going to be a blowout, I would think. The Denver Nuggets taking on the Toronto Raptors. Guys, it feels like the Nuggets have finally figured it out. At least I think. Yeah, it seems like Denver's figured it out this season. I think they have, right? The Jazz game was the perfect game that they needed. They needed a game where they could just go in there and dominate a squad, and that's what happened. Again, it feels like every single night Jokic leads their team in points, assists, and rebounds, and that's exactly what happened in the game against Utah. 27 points, 16 boards, 9 assists for Nikola Jokic. Great. That's what the Nuggets needed, and now this is the time where we can start, again, picking the Nuggets and feel good about picking the Nuggets. Now, their next game on Wednesday is the Oklahoma City Thunder, and you know how I feel about the Thunder. I usually don't pick against the Thunder. I haven't this season, and I won't pick against the Thunder for a very long time, but still, this is the game the Nuggets need before they get into that showdown against OKC. Right? They should dominate Toronto in this game, and I get it. The Raptors look great in their game against the Kings, the whole Drake-DeMar DeRozan beef game or whatnot. And, great for Toronto. And Drake's going to go climb up the rafters himself and pull down the DeMar DeRozan banner once they hang it up. That's great. Good for Drake. Toronto's still dealing with a lot of injuries. No Scotty Barnes, no Emmanuel Quickley, no Kelly Olynyk, no Bruce Brown. You know what that means? 4 guys in their 10-man rotation aren't playing. That means no victory and no covering of the spread. Give me the Nuggets to dominate. Jokic goes off. The Nuggets have a night. It's a game in Denver. They have their voodoo magic that happens. They make every single 3 when they're in Denver, and the Raptors won't be able to keep up. Grady Dick and RJ Barrett will not keep them competitive in this game. Denver will pull away, and this will be a National Blowout Association game. Give me the Nuggets to dominate this one at home against the Toronto Raptors. We go to our next one. The Phoenix Suns host the Philadelphia 76ers. Again, we mentioned it earlier with the Milwaukee Bucks, and here they are again with the Philadelphia 76ers, one of the most underwhelming teams in the NBA. And Paul George makes his debut. Don't care. Paul George will be playing against the 76ers on Monday. Against the Suns with the 76ers. He'll be making his debut. I really don't care. Again, it's Paul George's first game. It's going to take him time to get back after that hyperextension of the knee. And Phoenix has been playing lights out this season, guys. The Suns have been really good. Other than that loss against the Lakers, which, again, you know how we feel about the Lakers. I think the Lakers are, again, a top 5 team in the NBA right now. Phoenix has looked great. They came back and won that game against the Lakers the second time around. They came back and beat the Clippers. They came back and they were up the entire game against Portland. But Devin Booker has been going off, man. D-Book, 33 in the Lakers victory, 40 in the win on the road against the Clippers in the huge comeback game. They were down by 18 at halftime. They ended up winning it. D-Book with 28 in that game against Portland. Nurk with 15 assists, or 15 boards. D-Book had 9 assists. But Phoenix has been playing really good basketball right now, man. They're playing some good basketball. Bradley Beal should be playing, I think. But again, KD and D-Book is enough for the Suns to consistently win basketball games, and we're going to pick the Suns to beat the 76ers. I don't care if Paul George is playing. I think, if anything, it messes the Sixers up in this one game that Paul George is back, because now it's a whole ball dynamic thing with him and Tyrese Maxey, who's taking the shots, who, again, is going to be the number one on this team with those two guys in the court, when obviously their true number one in Joel Embiid is not out there just yet. I think it's going to make it rough on the 76ers when it's just Maxey and George. When Embiid comes back, obviously they're going to be dominant, but for now, I like Phoenix to dominate this game. It's in Phoenix as well. Obviously, Philly got to go all the way from the East Coast all the way down to Phoenix in the desert to play this one. Gave me the Suns to dominate. They're going to run away with this game. Paul George, right now, in his first game, doesn't fix the Sixers' problems. Give me the Suns to win this one, and they should dominate this game at home. As we go on to our final game of the nightcap, can the Los Angeles Clippers finally get their first win at the Intuit Dome? They will. They will beat the San Antonio Spurs. They're getting 4.5, and I think, again, the Clippers are more than due to win a game at home in their new arena, and it's finally going to happen. They have lost to the Suns at home twice. They lost to the Portland Trailblazers at home by 1 point in the game where they couldn't score in the final 90 seconds of that one to potentially go ahead and win the game. Yep, shout out to Zubac for missing back-to-back free throws. And they just lost to the OKC Thunder again that they were ahead by about 15 points. OKC came storming back because they're the best team in basketball. Guys, this is the game the Clippers finally get at home. They finally will. If not, maybe they get it in Paul George's return to Los Angeles on November 6th on Wednesday. I'm just saying. It's the game on ESPN. It's a big game. I'm just saying. But give me Los Angeles to do it tonight, though, against the Spurs. I think they outmatch the Spurs. Their shooting definitely should take them far in this game. And I get it. San Antonio's 3-3. They're coming off back-to-back victories over the Jazz and the Timberwolves. My logic for this one, guys, the Spurs are not winning 3 games in a row. They're better this season. They're not that much better. They're not going back-to-back games being the Wolves and the Clippers. I just don't see it happening. I think the Clippers outmatch them here. Norman Powell has been playing lights out all season long. His shooting, again, we've always known Norman Powell's got great shooting, but this year it's just, he's been out of his mind shooting the basketball. James Harden's been playing well. Zubac has his nights as well. And I just think they're the better team between them and the Spurs. Again, the Spurs are going to cool down eventually, and this is when the Spurs are going to cool down. They're not going into Los Angeles and winning their 3rd consecutive game, especially, again, when Steve Ballmer and the guys with the Los Angeles Clippers are trying desperately to finally win their first game at home. They have 2 wins in the road this season. They got to get one at their new stadium, and I think they get it done against the San Antonio Spurs in the nightcap. So, folks, that was a quick rundown on all 15 games on the NBA slate today on Monday. Thank y'all for watching. Make sure that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back on Tuesday night, maybe Wednesday morning, for the next NBA predictions. No picks, no games on Tuesday with it being election night, but hey, we'll have our college football predictions out tomorrow as well, and we'll have some college basketball on the channel too. So folks, thank y'all for watching. Make sure that subscribe button down below for more, and Mamba forever.